Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. It's great to be back with you. I hope you are doing well. I am your host. You can listen to me on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. You can also listen to and watch me on Rumble and YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe because it does feed the AI algorithm. And lastly, please post your comments and questions below. It would be wonderful to hear from you. And let's jump right into it. This article from Muscle and Fitness, or Muscle and Fiction, as we used to call it back in the day. That's what we used to call it. Um, so, yeah, obviously, you're seeing my X page. And the reason why we're going to be reading this Muscle and Fitness article on my X page is because last night, while I was trying to record this video, or I was getting ready to record this video, the Muscle and Fitness webpage kept eating all my CPU, and I have a lot of CPU. So I decided, you know what, I need to find a different way to do this. And so I went ahead and I posted most of the article on my in my articles section, which I've already posted. I will post a link as well. I noticed his name is Owen Gregarian. I believe that's his name. If you just put in Owen Gregarian in the search, in search in on X, you'll be able to find his X profile. And what he does is he'll take most of the articles from various websites and he'll post them. And that's what he posts. That's what he posts for his. That's kind of his thing. And so I kind of said, you know what, that looks like a good idea, but I don't want to copy him. So I'll just go ahead and see if I try it this way. If I ever run into a website like Muscle and Fitness, which is, and by the way, Muscle and Fitness, you got to take some of those ads off. I mean, reading the article it's really difficult. I do not want to be on your webpage. I'm just saying. That might not be the best thing in the world because a part of this is the experience for who's ever reading the article. But who knows? This might work really well, and we'll see. We'll give it a shot. Try it out. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and let's get right to it. Like I said, again, from Muscle and Fitness, title of the article is "Human Coaching Achieves Better Results When Compared to Tech" by Scott Future Felstead, Muscle and Fitness. Article begins. There have never been more options for those of us that want to become the fittest and healthiest versions of ourselves. That's correct. Article continues here. When it comes to technology, there's a whole industry of products designed to support us either by tracking calories or monitoring our gym sessions. But if you really want to drop some fat, you should think twice about dumping your personal trainer, according to the latest research. Right. So the research is going to tell us that no, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't dump your personal trainer. It actually says the opposite. It's according to the research, it's a bit of a mixed bag. I read through some of it. I don't think it was a very good paper. I don't think the research was very good. But nonetheless, we'll kind of get into some of the aspects of it. But just to point out, right? So in industry, what's the client looking for? The client's usually looking for, drop some weight, gain muscle mass. In the modern world, they're looking to track their steps, and of course, they've always wanted to track their diet. Right? The diet's always been a part of this process, and so, can the client, can the personal training client, can the gym client, can they do it on their own without a personal trainer, without guidance? How successful is that? How successful, if you're a personal trainer, how successful has that been in your experience, seeing clients do it with you and without you? Do clients stay on the plan? Right. A part of paying for your services, that's an incentive for the client to want to use you as a personal trainer. Um, from your point, right, this you'll hear a lot. You're going to hear a lot of, well, you're competing with this technology, right? The idea here, the hypothesis is, oh well, this will replace the personal trainer, but will it really replace the personal trainer, or will it become one of those things where it'll become a tool for the personal trainer, right? Because the personal trainers in the past have used other tools, right? If they're in the gym, well, they use all the equipment in a gym. They'll use the free weights, they'll use the machines, they'll use the cardio machines. Um, they'll do the boot camps, they'll use medicine balls, they'll use other gear. And so those are technically pieces of technology. Now, a client could, and many people obviously do, use the equipment without using a personal trainer. But the personal trainer is a specialization, right? It's somebody who wants, a little bit more motivation, right? They want somebody to support them on the endeavor. Maybe they can't. Maybe they can't do it on their own. Maybe they need somebody to come in and do it for them, or not do it for them, rather, but have somebody there saying, supporting them through the process. So anyway, let's continue here. Article continues. Here's what we need to know. A new study from Northwestern Medicine was designed to find out if wireless fitness feedback systems can replace a traditional human coaching for treating obesity. Right. So, okay, my question would be, what led up to that obesity? It's usually going to be something like lifestyle, right? Is that person, I could ask the question, is that person, walking their 10,000 steps a day? Are they even walking 2,000 steps a day? Yeah. How do they know? What type of foods are they eating? Are they eating a lot of processed foods? Right. You cut those two things out. By the way, you don't even need technology to cut that out. You just need to cut it out. I mean, it doesn't take some fancy Fitbit or Garmin watch to help you not eat processed food. That's a big killer right there. Maintaining activity, especially in a sedentary society like this, don't need a tracker to do that. You don't need AI to tell you to do that. You just need to go do it. And so it's interesting. I don't know. I'm going to be doing more articles on this because I find this topic particularly interesting, since this is actually what I used to do for a living. And I want to see how I want to see what the tech people have to say about fitness trackers and technology and all these really wonderful utopian ideas. But that's one thing, but implement it into industry and figuring out how personal trainers are going to use it, that's a completely different game. And personal trainers are going to be particular about that. So anyways, article continues here. It's an important question because the fitness tracker market is thought to be worth more than 25 billion in 2024 in North American alone. I believe they were trying to say North America alone, and that figure is thought to continue to rise year on year. Yeah. So I went ahead, did a little bit of digging on some statistics here. Let's see here. According to Statista.com, the fitness tracker market. And by the way, Statista.com is a good website. It's an expensive subscription, but if you go in there for free, you actually do get a lot of good data. So anyway, Statista.com, they said the fitness tracker market was 35.7 billion in 2023. So that's a bit higher than what they're saying here in this article. So I'm not sure where they got the this value from for the 25 billion. Now they break that up, and I'll show you here in a bit because I got the link how they break this up. So smart watches are about 24.62 billion in 2023. Smart bands were about 7.62 billion in 2023, and smart scales equaled 3.55 billion in 2023. And I'm might be jumping ahead of myself here a little bit, but also according to Statista.com, the market size for, or the market revenue for the personal training industry was 14 billion, 14 billion in 2023. And according to IBISworld.com, the market size or the market revenue for personal training industry was about 13 billion in 2023. So there's some little bit of discrepancy in value, but it's in about that range. So a question you're probably asking yourself, well, the technology industry is larger in revenue than the personal training industry. Yeah, that could be for a number of reasons. It could just be the business model of personal trainers. Remember, personal trainers, you are limited by if you're not doing anything online and you're just a personal trainer going from house to house, or let's say you're a personal trainer working in the gym, you are constrained by the number of hours you can work a day. But if you get online, you get like if you create a Twitter following, maybe you do some telepersonal training or something like that. You do a boot camp, you can expand your audience, right? And then for personal trainers, Jillian Michaels, she has her own website. So instead of, I'm sure she has her own set of private clients, but now she has a website, she has an app. So now she has a lot more people that are technically her clients than, let's say, the average 3, 4, 5 people a day, right? So she's been able to expand her market utilizing technology. Technology didn't put her out of business. She adopted technology and she expanded her market. And I think with some of these, I have another article talking about how Sam Altman from OpenAI and Ariane Huffman from Huffington Post, they're starting a business where they're going to try to get into the fitness market, health and fitness market using AI. And I think they're going to try to move in and capture some of that. But, they're not, it's a bit of a fallacy to say, well, they're not personal trainers, so they don't understand. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you have worked in the trenches, so to speak, you have a lot better idea about how those business models work and what the constraints are on your business model, your clientele, who your clientele are, their personal profile, right? The psychology of your client. I mean, you already know a lot of that stuff. So you're going to have an advantage. Whereas they're just going to have an advantage in having lots of capital to be able to throw into their business. But yeah, let's continue here with the article. So this next section, how was the study carried out? 400 adults identified as overweight or obese were evaluated for a total of 12 months to find out which process worked best. These processes were grouped as treatment with a wireless system alone, treatment with a wireless system and human coaching, and treatment with human coaches alone. So in my notes here, a couple questions kind of to ponder. Which treatment group do you believe had the greatest success? My money would be on either treatment with human coaches alone or treatment with a wireless system and human coaching. They'd put my money on those two things. I wouldn't put my money on treatment with a wireless system alone. Let me tell you why. And you'll know this if you worked in industry somehow, in some way or in some fashion. The number of people who will go into the gym at the beginning of the year in January and February, it's a lot of them. Now, you see that number decline, throughout the year, right? There'll be a little bit of a peak, before summer because everyone's trying to lose their weight in like 2 weeks or something like that. But then it'll just start declining again. And then, usually the best workouts are in the fall because really nobody's there. And then rinse, repeat, every single year. Right. So you have people spending a lot of money on memberships. And what do most of those people do? They don't use them. So we'll probably run into an argument here reading these articles where they'll say, well, okay, the gym didn't work, so we can develop this AI. This AI will work because the gym didn't work. But is the AI addressing the issue? Right? It's just one application replaced with another. Now, I don't know if AI will work for sure or not. but I do understand human nature. So, and and a lot of there are gonna be a lot of people who are gonna purchase gym memberships and then they're just not gonna show up. And that's unfortunately how it goes. And it's compounded by having a sedentary culture, right? Um, so anyway, um, yeah. And then another question I had about this is before I looked at it, and I'll just give you the answer. My question was the study random and blind? That's 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 the peak of a scientific study, right? If I'm going to trust a study, those are the first two things I look for: is it random and is it blind? In this case, it was random, but it wasn't blind, right? And then the next thing is it reproducible? So it's not, did we just do the study once? No, did you duplicate it, reproduce it? Right? Did somebody else take it and did they reproduce it? Because if that doesn't happen, then the study is worthless. It doesn't tell us anything. Even one study really doesn't tell us anything. We need some sort of trend utilizing reproducibility, right? If there's going to be a scientific process, that needs to be a part of it. And so anyway, let's continue on here. The article says the 18 to 60-year-old participants who used a wireless system were given an integrated app, Wi-Fi scale, and a Fitbit. And by the way, I'm not opposed to these pieces of technology. I'm not opposed to it at all. I mean, these could be really valuable. I use technology on my cell phone. I have Android. Android has some fitness applications, for like tracking steps and stuff like that. I have a Garmin watch. I can track my steps per day. I do my 10,000. And so yeah, I think the technology can be useful if it's applied correctly, if it's used correctly. But that takes some practice. And by the way, if a person gets a personal trainer and they say, "Hey, I want to use some of this technology," trainers are going to have to learn about this technology in order to really, take advantage of it for their business. But the article continues here. This allowed them to receive electronic feedback on their diet, activity, and weight. Right. Because the client, again, what are the pain points for clients? Right. The pain points are, I said this earlier, but I didn't specifically point out that their pain points. That is, track weight loss. Right. They want to lose weight. They want to gain muscle. But you have those clients that come in, then they want to put on some mass. Right. So the biggest two are really weight loss and weight gain. And of course, then you also have the people, they just want to feel better. They want to have an active lifestyle. The other ones, I want to eat better. So, those are important pain points for the personal training client. I'm sure you have other pain points that you're thinking of right now. Go ahead and put those in the comment section below. Go ahead and comment if you're on X, if you're on Rumble or YouTube. I'd love to hear from you. By the way, yeah, if you are a personal trainer, I'd really like to hear from you on this subject. That'd be great. So anyway, let's continue on here. Those who received human coaching were given additional advice and guidance, right? Because they're dealing with a human coach. They have the technology and a human coach. By the way, the more I look at this, I would say the most advantageous, or if I was to base, well, first you need some data, some observations to look in for these three treatments. But if I was to make a guess on which one would probably the one that would win out in the long term, it'd probably be the technology with a human coach. That'd probably be the way to go. That technology not going to replace the human coach. So I have your human coach versus tech results. Article says those who started out with technology and zero human coaching support were less likely to receive meaningful weight loss. Determine that data. Right. And that was my suspicion. Now, of course, I've already read this, but when I first read it, I was like, yeah, it's probably probably the one that'll win out over the long term. Again, we would need multiple studies. We need to reproduce it, but that would probably be the coach with the technology. It says here, giving people technology alone for the initial phase of obesity treatment produces unacceptably worse weight loss than giving them treatment with which that combines technology with a human coach. Right. Said Bonnie Spring, who was the corresponding study author and is both the director of the Center for Behavior and Health and a professor of preventive medicine at Northwestern University Feinberg School of Medicine. Right. And that is not the end of the article because, like I said, I didn't post all of it. So I have the rest of it here. Here's another thing to consider, too. I'll throw this statistic out. It might seem kind of random, but in the big scheme of things, it's actually kind of important to consider in context. And that is the personal trainer industry has increased. So I found a statistic, which I would have to confirm with the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, but this here's the statistics from ptpioneer.com. Since 2012, the personal trainer industry has grown by 21%, from 267,000 personal trainers in 2012 and to 340,000 personal trainers in 2023. So put that into the context of, what is the value or revenue of the personal trainer industry, and what is the revenue value of the technology tracking industry. Right? Clearly, despite what might have happened a couple years ago with that entire thing, the personal trainer industry is still growing. So, but let's see. I got the last two paragraphs I'll read for you from the article. Article says, while previous research has pointed to encouraging engagement between humans and their wearable tech, there has been a question mark over whether or not simply operating the devices is the same thing as actually exercising or following dietary guidance that they provide. No, it's not the same thing. The gap between engaging with the equipment and engaging with some kind of meaningful output could be the reason that tech cannot yet replace humans when it comes to helping us to lose weight or gain muscle. Perhaps we are motivated to do more when there's an actual person that we need to be accountable to. Yeah, right. That was my experience. Training private personal training clients. That was my experience. Quote here from the article, at this stage, the average person still needs a human coach to achieve clinically meaningful weight loss goals because the tech isn't sufficiently developed yet, said Spring. Right. They could improve the tech, right? You keep improving, keep iterating the tech. It doesn't mean it's going to replace the personal trainer. One of the things that the tech doesn't have that the personal trainer has is sex appeal. Right? People like to hire attractive trainers. They like to hire people that are in shape. If you're in shape, you're going to be attractive in some way. And if you're attractive, you have some sex appeal. And another thing people is ultimately the person wants to be able to look good naked in front of the mirror. That's ultimately what they want. But if they look at some piece of technology, they can't relate to that. But if you're their trainer, they can relate to that. They're like, oh, dude's ripped. Baby walks around naked all the time, looks really badass. Right? It's not that they're like, they want to have, they want to make out with you or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, you're in shape. Right? Yeah, they're looking at you like, hey, is this Greek god? He's going to tell me how to become a Greek god. It's human nature. The AI is probably just never going to have that. It doesn't mean it's not going to be a good piece of technology. It doesn't mean it's not going to be valuable. Perhaps it'll help the personal trainer be able to help people lose weight. That's where I think it's going. So anyway, article, let's see here. Quote, we may not be so far away from having an AI chatbot that can sub for a human. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I want to know if these people work out. That's what I want to know. The people who did the study. But the quotes continues here, but we are not quite there yet. It's within reach. I don't think so. The tech is developing really fast, end quote. Article finishes here. In the meantime, the trusty traditional PT personal trainer is far from obsolete. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was from the Feinberg School of Medicine here. And here's what they wrote, because I got a bunch of stuff. You probably hear me hitting a desk with a bunch of stuff. I have a bunch of notes that I wrote down. So here we go. This is what they wrote from one of these other articles that I wrote from Feinberg School of Medicine. They said technology alone can't replace the human touch to produce meaningful weight loss in obesity treatment. Right. In order for this to replace a personal trainer, it's got to be able to match that. It's got to be able to match that. Doesn't match that. I'm not even saying it has to be better. I'm saying it has to match that at least. In order for a person to jump ship and from their personal trainer and go just use an AI chatbot, it has to match it. It just has to. There's just no way around it. Or else it's going to be useless. It's going to be useless. Like, hey, if you watch my previous episode on McDonald's, remember IBM implemented their AI, and it was like, what, in the 80s, it was getting like 80% of the orders correct or something like that, and sometimes it couldn't even understand people. It was having issues, so much so that McDonald's said, you know what, this isn't working out. After about 3 years, we're gonna end the relationship and we're gonna give Google a try. Right? So McDonald's is jumping over to Google. Again, it's got to be as good. I'm not saying it better. Of course, people want it to be better, but it has to be at least as good. It has to match. It has to match the. It has to address the pain points. It has to address the pain points. So that's the end of the article. I will post the link to the article in the videos below, so you have that on all 3 platforms: X, Rumble, and YouTube. And then let's move on to my final thoughts here. So let's review some of the wrote down here. So I wrote down my 3 questions, but then I wrote down a bunch of other stuff as well. I kind of had on my mind while I was getting ready for this video. And so I put down some trainer pain points to consider. Track weight loss, we already talked about that. Track muscle gain, we already talked about. Track diet, we already talked about that. Track steps. All right, so those are 4. I'm sure you have some more. Go ahead and put those in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. Client, so there's a trainer pain points, right? Because the trainer, for the technology, has to be useful for the trainer as well. It has to be useful for both sides. Client pain points: lose weight, lose body fat, increase muscle mass, feel better, support endeavor, right? So a lot of times those pain points will match up with the trainer and the client. Put down here. So here's a highlight from the article. Northwestern study suggests. Now, they said in the article that I read, they didn't use the word suggest. I could find it here. They used a different word. No, they did. Yes. Okay. They said it shows. It does not show. It does not show. That's the incorrect verb. It does not show. It suggests. Doesn't show. It has to be reproducible for it to show. And even then, it's if you really want to use that word, it suggests. It suggests. So the study suggests technology alone can't replace the human touch to produce meaningful weight loss in obesity treatment. Right. We covered that. Fitness tracker market value is $25 billion, according to the article. Statista said that was, I believe, $34 billion. Personal trainer market value is about 13 to 14 billion. That's according to Statista.com and IBISworld.com. So some of the client challenges here, there's pain points and there's challenges, and then those things overlap. So here's some of the challenges: lose weight. These are going to be course, familiar to you. Stay motivated, maintain consistency, develop lifestyle, uh, disposable income. That's a big one, right? Personal training is not cheap. It's not cheap. So AI could beat out personal trainers, at least in price in the beginning. Kind of like it's cheaper to purchase a gym membership than it is to get a personal trainer. And when you're in a gym and you purchase a membership, they will upsell you to a personal trainer, right? Because personal trainers are expensive. But a personal trainer is a luxury good. That's what they call it in economics. It's a luxury good. And I believe I've talked about luxury goods before on my channel. And if you have disposable income, you can afford luxury goods. If you don't have disposable income, you can't afford luxury goods. That's why not everyone can afford a personal trainer, because they don't have disposable income. So that's part of the client's challenges. So the AI has to be affordable. Then I just kind of jumped ahead of myself. Yeah, for technology. Some of the technology challenges, meet fitness client expectations. Again, the technology has to be able to help the client lose weight, gain muscle. Again, it's a broken record at this point. Track diet, and of course, motivate the customer. And that, again, that's why the person goes to a personal trainer, because a personal trainer can motivate them visually and motivate them physically. Some of the personal trainer challenges here. All of the above for what I just said for the client challenge and the client's challenges and the technology challenges. And the personal trainer is going to have to find the appropriate tech that will complement the program design. And that's another thing. You will, when you're a personal trainer and you're designing a program, some things are going to be the same from client to client, but a lot of times there's going to be some differences, and it's subtle. Sometimes it's subtle. And will the AI be able to match that? Will it be able to match that subtlety? Because sometimes it's that subtlety that helps you get that client to where they want to go. Right? It's that subtlety. So I'm gonna jump into my final 3 questions here. First question: will the technology ever be able to design a fitness program based on the client's needs? And I kind of just talked about that. Client walks in through the door. They said, "Hey, I got this. I want to do this, this, and this, and this." And then let's say they hire you as a personal trainer, and then you design their program. It is difficult enough as a personal trainer because you have all these things going on. You design the program. Would the client follow the program? There's a lot of things that can happen. It's out of your control. There's nothing you can do about it. And so you could design the best fitness program for them ever. There's a possibility it might not work out. What is AI going to do better? That's the real question, right? Is this technology going to do better? That's the question. A lot of people that have an incentive, Sam Altman's going to tell you yes. He's going to tell you yes. But I would beg to differ, respectfully. Question 2: will this tech be able to crunch useful data for the client and personal trainer? This was a question that was actually floated to me, and I thought it was a good question to ask. If you're a personal trainer, you don't have time to be a data scientist or a software engineer, right? You want to be able to get something useful that will crunch a bunch of data for you, and so you just look at the data and then you're able to help your client. Right? That's what you want. And is this tech capable of doing that? I believe there's some stuff out there that does do that. There actually are some websites that support that are specifically for personal trainers that they can use, where it'll track you. The clients have to put the data in themselves, or you have to put the data in for your client, right? If you're a personal trainer and you sit there with your notepad and you're writing down notes, you're like pen and paper, you're writing down notes, right? You would need something like maybe if all you had to do was purchase a tablet, right? A tablet would be easier than carrying around a laptop. In that case, a tablet would be useful. And then you have an interface and a program, and you could just put that data in to that interface. That's all you have to do. Put it in, and underneath, programming does all the data analysis and all the processing and data analysis for you, and it spits out this graph, and it gives you some, your clients lost this much weight, or your clients gained this much muscle mass, or your client has showed up for every workout, or I don't know, whatever data would be useful for the personal trainer. I imagine something like that. That's kind of something I would thought of, like that would have been useful for me when during my time in the gyms and in private homes. And again, I wrote here, second question, does it provide useful data visualization, right? It has to be visual, has to be useful for the personal trainer. And the personal trainer, it has to be easy enough for the personal trainer to be able to read it. It has to make sense. And of course, it has to be easy enough for the client to be able to read it, right? Because personal trainers and most clients are not, again, they're not data scientists, they're not data analysts. So things have to be very simple and useful. Final question, question 3. Will the fitness tracker and personal trainer industries continue to grow, feeding each other with more business? I believe they will. Actually, I just answered my own. Generally, I don't answer these questions, but yes, in this one, well, I guess I do kind of answer them. But yeah, in this one for sure, they're both growing. They're both projected to grow based off of what I saw. And I don't think I showed you those other web pages like I was going to, but I can do that here in a second. So yeah, let me do that real quick. But then I'm gonna have to do some maneuvering around. Let's see here. No, it doesn't work like that. I would have to. If I do that, it's kind of a first. It'd be nice if they were able to just let me move from screen to screen dynamically. That'd be really nice. All right, so we have here from Statista. Maybe I went on too many times and now they're not letting me access this. So anyway, there's revenue for personal trainers. You can see over the years, obviously that's increased by quite a bit. And then I won't show you. I'll put the other one on. It's personal. The other one just shows the kind of what I went over before. That's just the growth of the personal trainer industry from 2012 to 2023. That's it. So that's all I got. Were there any questions I missed? Were there any questions you wished I would have asked? If so, please put those questions and or comments in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. I'd like to hear your thoughts, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.